Okay, so it's the afternoon after Sounds Live Feels Live at Madison Square Garden, and I look like this because I'm basically having the worst post concert sadness ever because that show was so emotional. So I thought basically for people who weren't there, I would do a little recap, and also because I need to get these emotions out because it was just the best night ever. Okay, so I'm just gonna go straight to five sauce. Usually, like from the videos I've seen, they like to start playing backstage and have a build up and then run out on stage and start singing. But here they just pretty much ran out immediately and started playing Carry On. And I don't have any footage of that because I was dead. I was in too much shock to record because it had been 2 years since I had seen them in concert, and I had no words. So then after Carry On, they went into Hey Everybody, and honestly, I was kind of mad at that because hashtag Let Ashton Sing. Michael took Ashton solos in that song, but I'm not completely mad at that because Michael has an amazing voice and I want to hear that more too, but just Ashton has the least amount of singing time, so I wanted to hear that, especially since I am Ashton trash. I am an Ashton girl to the fullest extent. So then after Hey Everybody, they went into Money. And if I'm honest, Money was not my favorite when Sounds Good Feels Good first came out. Like I wasn't crazy about it. I would I would listen to it if it came on, but it wasn't my favorite. But then at the concert, like something clicked, and all of a sudden, I was just singing and dancing along like it was my favorite song. So that was pretty good. Thankfully, I got like what I do is I record like one chorus of each song at least, just so I could have the memory. So then after that, they went into. So then after that, after Money, they went into Throwback, Voodoo Doll, which everyone knows Luke's riff in that. Like, I don't even have to explain when it comes in the song. When I just say Luke's riff in Voodoo Doll, everyone knows what I'm talking about. And that riff live is one of the greatest things I've ever heard in my life. And I got so nostalgic because, you know, it was the day before Luke's birthday, which is today, July 16th. So I just pictured their one mic, one take video where Luke kept messing up the words. And, you know, I just got so happy and so excited for them. And then after Voodoo Doll, I thought they were going to talk because, you know, they always have talking bits. Like, they each assign talking bits, as they say. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good because who doesn't love Don't Stop? But again, Michael took Ashton solo, and I know this is a regular thing, but considering that it was Madison Square Garden, I figured that this one time they would let Ashton have the solos in both Hey Everybody and Don't Stop. But it's okay. Like I said, Michael, like I'm a low-key Ashton girl, so Michael has my heart too, along with Ashton. After Don't Stop was Disconnected, and ironically, I recorded on my phone during Disconnected, and they always do the breakdown, so they did the breakdown in that song. And then after that, they sang Long Way Home, and I was kind of iffy about that because I wanted to hear If You Don't Know live. Because I was on Callum's side, so if they had sung If You Don't Know, I would have been on his side when his solo came on, and that's like the most iconic solo ever in Five Sauce history to me. but they didn't. They went with Long Way Home. And then after that, Callum made a joke. He was like, um, I have good news and I have bad news. And then he put the bad news first. He was like, we're already halfway through the set list. And then he said, the good news is we have half the set left. And that was cute. So then they went into outer space, and I've only listened to that song once, honestly. It's not my favorite, but I get what it means to the fandom, and it's beautiful. They did Waste the Night, which I died because that is Ashton's favorite song. And I just say that Callum's singing voice live in Waste the Night, it's like angels just coming down to bless me in that moment. So then Michael started talking, and I was reborn because his accent live was so much stronger than the last time I had seen them when they opened for 1D in 2014. And it was so cute. So Michael went into his love speech about how the next song was about love, and with everything happening in the world, we just need to love each other and spread love as much as we could. And I know he does this in other shows, but tonight there was just something different about what he said. So then they went into Vapor, which is my favorite song off of Sounds Good, Feels Good. And it was beautiful. It was my favorite performance of the night because at that point, everyone was just so emotional. Like, there was so much passion and love flowing through there. After Vapor was, they did a little talking again, and they continued on with their love theme, and they went into Amnesia. Now, I've heard Amnesia live before during the 1D Where We Are tour, but again, because this was Madison Square Garden, everything was just hyped up, so during the song, I could tell each of the boys just stopped and took a moment to take in the crowd. Callum didn't sing his solo at all, really. He just he sang the first line, and then he had the rest of us sing the song, which was pretty cool. And then Luke's solo in that, like the bridge solo, was the best I've ever heard him sing it, honestly. And then surprisingly, they sang Castaway. I wasn't really following like the tour before my show because I wanted to be completely surprised. So I don't know if that was on the set list or not, but from the few show set lists that I have seen, it wasn't on there. So they performed Castaway, which was amazing. I died. And then after Castaway came probably the most emotional part of the night. So everybody knows how Michael starts off Jet Black Heart live. Like, it's just him on stage, and he just takes a moment, and then he starts singing and ripping people's hearts out. But tonight, at the concert, he just, for literally 5 straight minutes, he just looked at the crowd. He didn't even try to sing. He just looked at the crowd. And then about a minute in, he started crying, which made me and everyone around me start crying. And it was like in that moment that Michael told himself that he made it, and it was in that moment that everyone in the arena told them that they made it. And it was just a really, really beautiful moment that I was so proud to be a part of, and I had wished I wish that I had gotten that on video, but I didn't because I was too busy sobbing because Michael Clifford crying on stage does that to a girl. Uh, so then, of course, they went into Jet Black Heart and they ripped out all the hearts of all the people, the 18,000 people there, because Jet Black Heart is, to me, one of the greatest songs ever. And a lot of people there really needed that song, and I could tell that, and it was amazing. So then, after Jet Black Heart was End Up Here, and I was so excited because Ashton would finally get like a legitimate solo, because up to this point he hadn't really spoken much. Like, the talking bits were mostly Michael, a little bit of Cake in there, but mostly Michael. So Ashton finally got to sing a solo, and it's my favorite solo of his, in End Up Here. And then after that, they went into another Ashton solo song in Good Girls, and you can't go wrong with Good Girls. Like, you just can't. I'm skipping the cover that they did. I'm pretty sure they did a cover. That part's blurry to me. After that, the piano came back out, and Michael played the piano earlier in the show, so I thought it was done with. And so they brought the piano back out, and everybody saw Luke sitting down at the piano, and it was just a moment of, what is happening? Why is Luke at the piano? Luke, get away from the piano. What are you doing? This is not part of the show. This has never happened on tour live before. What are you doing? And then all of a sudden, the rest of the boys chime in with their instruments, and the realization of 18,000 people at the exact same time of them performing Girls Talk Boys live for the first time was stunning. It was just a feeling of, oh my God, we're gonna be the first people to hear this live. And it was just a cool part of the show because we were part of a little Sounds Live Feels Live history already. So then on top of that, we were part of more Sounds Live Feels Live history when they sang Girls Talk Boys. And I had never heard, like, I didn't listen to the song when it leaked, and I didn't listen to it before the concert. So when I heard it at the concert, I pretty much died for the 5th time that night. And then when it got to the high notes, I told my friend that Michael doing falsetto was like him singing As I Die, and then Luke hitting the high notes in his falsetto was like singing As I Ascend Up to Heaven, and then Callum in his falsetto was like him welcoming me to the pearly gates, while Ashton is drumming along to it all. So then after Girls Talk Boys, Michael said that, they only have 2 songs left, but then that they do an encore so that he got the crowd excited, and he was like, do you want to see, because I know every show he makes a joke about, when he gets the crowd riled up at that moment, he makes a joke about, like, Callum, from what I've seen on Snapchat. So yeah, he was like, we have 2 songs left, but we do this thing where if you guys want us to come back out, we come back out. So then he did the standard, do you guys want to see us come back out? I can't hear you. And then we got louder. And he's like, do you want to see Callum take his clothes off? And then it was the most ear-piercing screams of the night, honestly, because who doesn't want that? So then they went into Permanent Vacation. Tickets, that was the song that I needed to be okay. So when I heard it, I was okay for the first time in a pretty long time. So then they were like, oh, this is our last song, even though it wasn't. And they played What I Like About You. and their cover of that is pretty good. So it was, Ashton did his typical like sing what I like about you. And he's like, you hold me real tight, New York. And that was the second most ear-piercing screams of the night that I've heard. Oh yeah, did I mention the fact that Callum was in a fucking New York City shirt like a fucking nerd? So then they went off stage, and of course, like they pretended it was over, even though Michael said that it's not over. And usually they're supposed to do 2 encores. They're supposed to do She's Kinda Hot and She Looks So Perfect. And She Looks So Perfect since 2015. Not because I don't like it, just because, I've been all sounds good, feels good up until this show. And there were 2 things that I was waiting for in the entire show. When Michael and Callum switched sides, which happened earlier, and then the synchronized She Looks So Perfect jump. And it happened, and that was the 6th time I died that night. So then they were gone for real, and everybody was basically trying not to cry. So then me and my friends decided to go outside and wait for the boys. And at first we were waiting in the wrong place, but then we got a tip that they were actually in the opposite direction of where we were. So we went there, waited a little while, and then as we were leaving, we heard screaming. So we ran back, and the boys were coming out in vans, and like I understood why they didn't come out and meet people personally, because with the amount of people at MSG and the fact that it was now it was after midnight, it was Luke's birthday, they wanted to celebrate. So I didn't see who was in the first car, but in the second car it was Michael, and he rolled down his window and waved to us, and that was the single greatest moment of my life, because Michael Clifford up close is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So then, yeah, that was the end of Sounds Live, Feels Live at MSG, and it was just basically moments of them trying not to cry and saying that they were nervous for the show, and that it was sold out. And then Michael, after he cried, he mouthed that he made it, which made us cry even more. And overall, it was a favorite concert I've been to. But I just felt that it was a little standard, like more special moments, because it was Madison Square Garden sold out. So I just wish there were a couple more special moments. But 5 minutes of Michael crying pretty much made my night, because, it was amazing. And then Ashton made his little speech about how dreams come true, and how his dream came true, and the whole band's dream came true, and how he said to each and every fan in that room, if there's a dream that we have, we can make it happen. And that really inspired me, because I want to be exactly where they were last night. And in that moment, it was just something touched me. So yeah, that's basically it. Sounds Live, Feels Live, MSG. I'm sorry to the people who weren't there, and to the people who were there. Hopefully you're not going through a post-concert sadness quite as bad as mine, but I'm definitely determined to get closer tickets next time for their next tour. So